Hey guys, so for this video I am going to be doing a movie review of Barbie. I was not originally planning to watch this, but I just like going to the movies, so, you know, I watched it, and I know there's controversy surrounding this movie, and I am the person who loves watching movies, controversial movies, just to see what I would think about them. For some reason, I find it enjoyable. So, yeah, I decided to watch the movie. I'm going to just go ahead and start with the plot, and give my thoughts about the movie. So, starting out, we get stereotypical Barbie, and she's essentially was the first Barbie ever created. And she really doesn't have a job other than being Barbie, as opposed to other versions who are career-oriented. She's pretty much just, stereotypical Barbie. And she lives in Barbieland with all the other Barbies and the Kens, and she pretty much does the same thing every day. So we see her, she will take a shower, drink, or, have breakfast, go out and hang out with the girls, and go to the beach, and yeah, it's pretty much what she's done every day. And the thing I liked about this is kind of sets a tone for what was ordinary for her. So we get her taking a shower, but there's no water, but she acts like there's water, or she's taking a bath as if there's water when there's not. She's drinking out of a cup when there's nothing there. And the props literally look like toys. The actual, the Barbie houses with all the accessories, like the cups and, showers and stuff. They actually do look like they would fit into a Barbie house, which I really like because it kind of gives you a sense of them being toys. And they also talk and move like toys. Very like plastic, feeling movements. So, once again, good job at establishing, that they are in fact toys. So, yeah, like I said before, she interacts with other Barbies, such as Dr. Barbie, Lawyer Barbie, President Barbie, and Ken's pretty much just jocks. They hang out at the beach, they surf and all of that. But Beach Ken, who's, played by Ryan Gosling, is the Peach Ken. He has the hots for Barbie because originally he was created to be accessory to, Barbie. He's Barbie's boyfriend. But in this movie, she's not interested at all, and she just wants to be by herself. She doesn't want him to live in her house with her, and she hangs out with her female friends. They have, parties. So the Barbies are supposed to be a reflection of the girls mostly playing her, so, of course, it's very much, childish, simplistic, but, people got upset about this because Barbie would only hang out with the other Barbies instead of Ken. When, yeah, it's established in the movie that these, their actions are based on, the people playing with them. So, they got upset because girls hang out with girls at a younger age. But one day, Barbie is dancing, and she's struck with the fear of dying. And she starts having reactions to her environment that would indicate she's an actual person, a real person. So when she's in the shower, despite there being no water, she's recoiling because it's too hot or too cold, or she's drinking some milk and then she spits it out despite there not actually being milk, and it turns out it's expired. So she starts having these reactions to the real world. And so to figure out what's going on, she goes to a weird Barbie, and she's played by Kate McKinnon, and she was my favorite character in the movie. She's very good at playing weird Barbie, and she's very like deadpan, and it was just very enjoyable, her character. Of course, she she has like her hair's been like chopped off, and her face is covered in marker because, you know, the girl who played with her was a psychopath. So yeah, she's like, they say she's the Barbie that they played with too rough. But yeah, she goes to Weird Barbie to find out what's going on. Turns out that the person playing with her like personality or feelings is bleeding into like the Barbie world and onto like Barbie. And so Weird Barbie says that she has to go to the real world to find the child who's playing with her, and I guess try to fix her or, you know, help her or something like that. So she heads there unwillingly. But of course, Ken's annoying ass, you know, forces himself along with her, and so she, you know, brings him. And so they get to Venice Beach, where they start to cause trouble because they're kind of like the fish out of water. And so the CEO of Mattel, played by Will Ferrell, he was good in this movie. He was enjoyable as the, you know, bumbling CEO. And he sends people after her to bring her back because I guess they actually do exist. You know, he does know that they exist. I guess it's like two different like realities. But yeah, he sends his minions or his like I don't know what to call them, executives after them. And so so she was able to find the owner of the doll, and it's a teenager, Slasha, who rejects her because Barbie has created unrealistic expectations for women, women's bodies. And so she pretty much reams like Barbie about, you know, being too perfect, I guess. You know, making people believe that women are supposed to be perfect. And so she ends up signing to go back to Barbieland with the, you know, the CEO of Mattel. He wants to put her, well, he actually wants to put her in a box to be remanufactured, but she wants to go back to Barbieland. Turns out that Sasha has a mother who actually worked for Mattel, of course, and she kind of realizes, you know, she overhears her plan and, you know, helps Barbie escape, and there's this very dangerous car chase where she's like, you know, driving through, you know, traffic, over lawns, and just very dangerous. And the entire time, she's kind of given like a backstory. So she reveals that she had been the one to play with the dolls. I guess her and her daughter used to play with dolls, but then her daughter got too old, and she's kind of like, I guess, trying to continue to feel close to her daughter by playing with the dolls herself, but then her feelings of like, you know, fear of death ends up bleeding onto Barbie. And so they end up going to Barbieland. Gloria, Sasha, and Barbie end up going back to Barbieland. Turns out Ken had gotten there first, and he had introduced misogyny to Barbieland. Because he went to the real world and saw how men are in charge in the real world. Whereas in Barbieland, it was all women who had all the jobs, and Ken's were just, you know, they played at the beach. And the president, lawyers, all of the Barbies have now become slavering slaves to the men. They pretty much become idiots. And they get this kind of like, the men become dude bros. of course, have a reference to the Snyder Cut. I knew that before I was going to watch it. But I gotta say, the one thing I enjoy about that is the fact that Zack Snyder has left such an impression, you know, in Hollywood, that his, you know, cut of Zack Snyder's Justice League is continually referenced in movies. I mean, this is Warner Brothers, so I'm no doubt, you know, it's meant to be a shot because they're dicks. But, like I said, they keep talking about him and keeping him relevant. So she tries talking to Ken to try to, you know, stop this, but he ends up refusing. He ends up bitching because she doesn't return his affection. He goes on about how, you know, she won't let him come to her Barbie house, which, why the fuck would she let him into her house when she's not at all interested in him? The fact that he has a problem with that. And also, he has a problem with the other Barbies having parties with her, which, why the fuck would she bring him? She's not interested in him. They're not, it's never established they're real friends. It's more like he's a hemorrhoid on her ass. So, yeah, it just pissed me off in this movie because Ken was so arrogant and assumed that just because he wants to be with her, then she must want to, you know, be with him in a sense of being and interacting with each other. It's just, there are people I just don't want to fucking talk to. I don't want to have a relationship of any kind with them. And that's fine. It's, you know, that's your right. And there are some that I hang out with all the time. I want the company. So, he just felt like because he likes her that he should be, you know, she should have to, you know, accept his, you know, a romantic relationship or even a friendship. But anyways, going back to the story. Barbie gives up, and so, of course, you get the meme where she's just laying on the lawn, which I did think was kind of funny. She gives up, but Gloria gives this entire speech about society's, like, expectation of women and how they always contradict each other. Like, well, I don't think this was in the movie, but one example is when a woman, refuses to sleep with a man, then she's like a cold-hearted bitch. If she sleeps with a man, then she's a whore. You know, she's expected to have children because that's a woman's role. But when she does, then she's a whore. And that's kind of what the scene was about. It's just listing off contradictions, but they don't really they don't really go much deeper than that. It's just, you know, talking about how, you know, a lot of the expectations of women contradict each other, and that apparently snaps her out of it. And they get together with Alan, who is the only non-Ken in the movie. The doll was actually created to be Ken's best friend, and so he's the only one in this movie the only man in this movie who isn't complete dickwad. And she gets together with the weird Barbie and the other discontinued Barbies to, you know, overthrow the Kens. That part I thought was fun because they have a lot of discontinued toys that actually did at one time exist. And I actually did look a little into them, and they were just so funny and ridiculous that they actually did exist. So there is Tanner the Labrador. He is a dog that will just go around and shit. And he did actually exist. And, you know, they give you a scoop to scoop up the poop. And it was discontinued not because it was a dog shitting, but because they thought the tiny pieces of poop would be choking ass. But I just thought it was funny that they got a toy that essentially you have to fucking pick up its crap. You know, because that's what you want to do as a child, is prepare yourself to have to pick up crap for your pets. Then there's Video Game Barbie, or Video Girl Barbie, that was created in 2010, which, yeah, she had a TV in her back, and it was supposed to be geared towards budding filmmakers. The necklace has a camera that records, and then you can watch it on the TV. However, the FBI raised concerns about it because they were afraid that it would be used to make child porn. Yeah, it didn't last long, let's just say that. Then there was Pregnant Midge. She was Barbie's best friend, and she was created because people were kind of pushing for, Barbie to have children. But they didn't want to make Barbie pregnant, and so they just made her friend. And she originally started out as Barbie's, like, I think she originally started out as a teenager, or a little kid, like 7, I think. But then they, made Midge into a teenager, and then they made her pregnant in like 2010 or 2002. And after that, because to make her pregnant, they put like a little baby inside of the doll, and and so it didn't last long. The parents were creeped out because of it. They thought it would encourage teen pregnancy, but it's just kind of funny. And then there, of course, Alan. He was named after Barbie's creator, Ruth Handler's son-in-law, and he was supposed to be Mitch's husband. But they stopped making him 2014, but since the movie has been released, the people who still have versions of it has, it's become in demand. So, the people who actually still have an Alan are making, good money. And then there was Magic Earring Ken. He was made in like 1995. He became a gay icon because he wore an earring in his left ear, which at that time period was a way for gay men to identify each other. Even though he was originally made to pair with Magic Earring Barbie. And so there's no way in hell that the people making that did not know that a gay, signal at that time period. It had to be intentional. And then there was Sugar Daddy Barbie. Sugar Daddy Ken. And yeah, my mind went to the same place yours did. But apparently, it's just a Ken whose dog's name is Sugar. So, he's Sugar's daddy. Which, there's no way in hell they didn't know that what Sugar Daddy meant, and that people wouldn't think of that, when they heard of, that Ken. So... but it was enjoyable reading about all the different discontinued Barbies. But back to the movie. So they end up kidnapping the other Barbies and what's the term? Unbrainwashing them, and using her magical speech powers to snap all the Barbies out. And they end up manipulating the Kens into fighting each other, and then having a dance battle, of course. They end up distracting him long enough that they're able to distract him long enough so that they can't redo, the Constitution to enshrine male superiority in it. So apparently it was only, you can only do it at this one particular time, and now that the time has passed and suddenly they can't, redo the Constitution, I guess. So yeah, they make changes in the Barbieland to give Kens more freedom, and they treat the outcast Barbies better, but they don't give Kens as much freedom, or they don't give them complete freedom. They're just taking it slowly, I guess. And then something that pissed me off was they had Barbie apologize to Ken. Because apparently she can't hang out with her girlfriends without him getting butthurt. Despite the fact they haven't really been established as friends that would hang out with each other. They're more, come off as acquaintances. She just seems like the girl who, is nice and doesn't tell the guy to fuck off, but doesn't care, about being around him. And of course, that leads to him attempting to kiss her, because her apologizing means that, that she wants to be with him, apparently, is what he thinks. He only ever cared about getting her attention. So he never tried to get friends, other friends. So he never tried to make friends with any of the Barbies. He didn't try to make friends with any of the dudes. Because he treated the dudes as competition. And so, apparently, she had to, allow him she had to allow him to stick around with her because he couldn't, find anyone else to annoy. Anyways, Barbie ends up meeting Ruth Handler's spirit and essentially tells her that she needs to make her own ending, that Barbie, there's no ending for Barbie. And so Barbie decides to become human and return to the real world. And it's kind of like reference like this idea of like morality and death later on, or in a movie when she goes to the real world. She's like sitting on this bench and she looks over and there's this old lady there, and she mentions how the old lady is beautiful, and the old lady's like, I know I'm beautiful. So I'm wondering if that's like, maybe it gives like Barbie the confidence of growing old, because even though there are some women that are old, they still view themselves as beautiful. They're still confident. And maybe that gave her the confidence to become human. So at the end, she's like really nervous, and they're taking her, and it kind of, she goes into this building, and you get the sense that she's getting ready to get a job, and it turns out that she's going to see a gynecologist. It kind of threw me, but I know people probably hated that, but I'm not necessarily that bothered by it, probably because they're normalizing going to see a gynecologist, which I wish they would do that and make it so that girls are comfortable going to see a gynecologist for their health. So I'm not necessarily that mad about that. So yeah, that was the movie, and it did it did make me think about interesting things, like, stuff happening in the world today. But it was more of a, like, childish, naive look at the real world, which kind of bothered me. But then again, I'm the kind of person who likes digging deep into that kind of stuff if you're going to bring it up in a movie. But this, of course, was geared towards kids. But it was an interesting looking more into this movie, like what happened into that what went into the making of this movie was interesting. So Universal first got the rights in 2009, but nothing happened. So Sony ended up getting the rights in 2014. Amy Schumer was considered to play Barbie, but she ended up leaving because of creative differences, which, yeah, I'm kind of glad that did not happen. Anne Hathaway then was considered, but after the rights expired for Sony in 2018, Warner Brothers ended up getting the rights, and Hathaway ended up leaving the project, which I wouldn't have mind a Hathaway Barbie. Well, that's how, Robbie ended up becoming Barbie, because the motel CEO thought she looked like Barbie, and so they, got her, and they did like her ideas. They end up pairing with her production company, Lucky Chap Entertainment. She ended up bringing her husband onto the film as well to be one of the producers. When she was pitching the movie to Warner Brothers, she compared the movie to Jurassic Park, which I would love to know what the hell, what the hell, like, Barbie movie had to do with, like, Jurassic Park. What exactly in Jurassic Park inspired her to do, like, Barbie or whatever. And she ended up joking that it would make $1 billion, which she was right about that. So after it was greenlit, Patty Jenkins was considered for the role as director, but ultimately Greta Gerwig eventually got it because Robbie had liked her movie Little Women. And of course we get the most well-known controversy, people claiming it's man-hating. So Camilla Long of the Times wrote that the film featured Mattel's pink squealing corporate grasping, trying to be ahead of the sexism curve, but ends up feeling sexist itself for its portrayal that men are stupid, go to the gym, run everything, and don't care about women, while women are sensible, striving, but ultimately conflicted victims. Which, there was a few points that I had issues with. Men being stupid. It's interesting because women are continually considered stupid all the time. Running joke of the blonde bimbo. But, God forbid you portray men as stupid, huh? There's a going to the gym aspect. Yeah. The whole issue of men, it's alright for them to, be concerned about their appearance, but women are pretty much degraded, I guess, frowned upon for caring about their appearance. Quite often, that's kind of the stereotype. Women only care about their appearance. They're very superficial. So I guess, doing the same with dudes is somehow a problem. The whole running everything, yeah, men literally run everything in this world, and women are the minority in leadership. So, I don't see what her problem was with that. And the whole don't care about women, yeah, they don't care about women. Men don't care about women. They're constantly passing laws in this country to hurt women, and just every fucking day I hear multiple horror stories about how horrendous women have been treated by men, and multiple men, or it's just unending amount of men talking about how much they hate women. So yeah, they don't care about women. And crying about them being conflicted victims. Yeah, apparently bringing forth like issues that affects women, and just pointing out how men treat women terribly is playing the victims. But she's obviously a pick-me, so. In the review of Kyle Smith of the Wall Street Journal, he states, as bubbly as the film appears, its script is like a grumpier than average woman's study seminar. Exemplified by the Mattel's employees' characters' long monologue about how miserable it is to be female. Yeah, it is miserable to be female. I do enjoy the fact when men continually bitch because women talk about how they hate being women in this world because of how horrible they're treated. But something I thought of. I know for a fact that this douche nozzle hasn't ever gone to a women's study class. So, you can just shut the fuck up. And something else, if you want to really see how miserable it is to be a female, go read The History of Misogyny by Jack Holland. Just the first, like, 2 pages makes you want to throw up because of just how atrocious women have been treated. Not by just evil dudes, you know, people that you just claim are evil. No, they're men who use the religion, they believe they're morally right, and commit atrocities. And so, yeah, the fact that they're somehow bitching because the movie talks about how miserable it is being female. Alyssa Wilkerson of Vokes compared Barbieland to the Biblical Garden of Eden, with Barbie and Ken as inverted parallels of Adam and Eve. She saw Barbie and Ken's first impression that they're suddenly self-conscious and aware of doing or being looked at in the real world, as the film's version of the fall. I did not think of that. That's one of the things that kind of bothered me, I guess, because they're going to the real world, and then, you know, men are woof whistling at her, and it kind of felt odd to me because she's essentially raised to, you know, in a perfect world where women respect her. Everyone respects her, so she wouldn't have this kind of, like, experience of being sexualized. Unless that was supposed to be, like the woman who was actually playing with her, maybe some of her, like, memories and experiences bled onto, like, Barbie, and so she's kind of just reacting like Gloria would have reacted. But I did not ever think of it as a whole, like, parallel to Adam and Eve, so that was interesting. So yeah, that was my movie review. But if you do like Barbie, if you're a fan of Barbie, if you just want, I don't know, a kid's movie to go watch it. But yeah, so that was my review of Barbie. So if you liked the video, give it a like, subscribe to get notifications for all the videos I'll be doing. You guys have a nice night. Stay safe out there, and talk to you later.